Donna Drake was this shining star at Paramount around 1941. When she stepped into the Hollywood scene, Paramount went all out with this crazy PR package to introduce her. This wasn't unusual back then. Hollywood's golden era was all about the show, creating these untouchable images for people to fall in love with. They'd whip up fake stories, give you a makeover, sometimes even surgery. These stars weren't just people, they were products, designed to pull in as much cash as possible. Now, for Donna Drake, Paramount cooked up this story that she was from Mexico, daughter of these restaurant owners, and mixed with Mexican, Irish, and French roots. Sounds cool, right? But here's the kicker, it was all fake. Often, when you hear about stars from back in the day with this mixed heritage, it's because the studios were trying to make them appeal to everyone. They'd even teach them new languages to make the story more believable. She was actually born Eunice Westmoreland in Florida, an African-American woman passing in a white-dominated Hollywood. This act of passing wasn't just about avoiding being typecast in demeaning roles. It was about surviving in an industry that hardly ever gave people of color a chance, unless they fit into very narrow stereotypical roles. Living this lie, hiding her true identity just to chase her acting dream, must have been a huge burden. It's a stark reminder of the darker side of Hollywood's glamour, the identity creases, the fear of being found out, and the tragic ends too many of these stars met. Donna's story is as fascinating as it is heartbreaking. It shows the lengths Hollywood went to keep up its fantasies, even if it meant sacrificing its most talented stars. The glitz and glam of the golden age often hide the reality that many of its brightest stars were trapped in a web of lies, struggling to find themselves amidst their constructed public personas. So what do you think about Donna Drake's roller coaster of a life? It's a lot to take in, for sure. Imagine for a moment the kind of world Donna had to navigate. A place where your worth, your identity, and even your history were up for grabs, rewritten by folks who didn't know the first thing about being true to yourself. It's like living in a house of mirrors where every reflection twists a bit of your reality. Now think about this. Donna, or should we say Eunice, was more than just a face on a movie poster. She was talent wrapped up in a lie so tight it was suffocating. Hollywood's glitz and glam painted over the truth with a brush dipped in falsehoods. But beneath that veneer was a woman who knew the score, who played the game, not because she wanted to, but because it was the only game in town. Let's not forget the stakes here. We're talking about a time when stepping out of line didn't just mean a slap on the wrist. It meant the end of your career, your reputation, and everything you'd worked for. Donna was dancing on a tightrope with no safety net where one wrong step could send her plummeting. And yet, she danced anyway, because what else was there to do but dance? But here's where it gets even more real. Donna's story isn't just a cautionary tale. It's a spotlight on the courage it takes to chase a dream in a nightmare. It's easy to judge from the outside, to say, I would have done it differently. But put yourself in her shoes, in a time and place where being yourself wasn't just frowned upon, it was forbidden. This whole saga shines a light on the dark side of Hollywood's golden era, a time that many look back on with rose-tinted glasses, forgetting the sacrifices and the struggles of those who didn't fit the mold. Donna Drake, with every role she took, with every lie she had to live, chipped away at that mold, even if she had to do it from the inside. And here's the kicker. The industry that forced her into this corner, that made her hide who she was, also depended on her talent, her charisma, and her ability to bring characters to life. Hollywood needed Donna Drake, even if it didn't know the real her. She brought something unique to the screen, something that couldn't be fabricated or faked. Hollywood, especially during its golden age, was a place of contradictions. It was a dream factory that often demanded its dreamers live a lie. For every star like Donna Drake, whose story we've begun to untangle, there were countless others navigating similar waters, each with their unique challenges and secrets. The industry's obsession with image over authenticity didn't just affect those who had racial identities to conceal. It touched everyone who entered its orbit, from leading men and ingenues to character actors and studio hands. Consider the studio system itself, a well-oiled machine that manufactured stars as easily as it did movies. Actors were often signed to long-term contracts that gave studios control over their careers, their public images, and by extension, their lives. This control extended to dictating their social circles, their love lives, and even their marital status. Rumors of arranged marriages, hidden relationships, and secret lives were not uncommon. Studios wielded their power with a mix of charm and threat, creating an environment where secrecy became a second nature. The pressure to conform to a certain standard of beauty and behavior led many to make drastic changes to their appearance and to hide their true selves. Plastic surgery, although not as advanced as it is today, was already a tool for crafting the perfect image. Diet pills, alcohol, and other substances were used to maintain or alter physical appearances and to cope with the relentless pressure of fame. The toll on mental health was significant, yet rarely acknowledged openly due to the stigma surrounding mental illness. Moreover, the racial politics of the time were complex and deeply ingrained in the industry. Actors of color often found themselves relegated to stereotypical roles that perpetuated harmful cliches. For those who could, passing as white or altering their ethnic background offered a path to broader opportunities, but at a great personal cost. The industry's narrow view of who could be a leading man or lady meant that talent alone was rarely enough to break through these barriers. And let's not overlook the audience's role in all this. The public's appetite for gossip, scandal, and the illusion of perfection fueled the studio system's practices. Fan magazines, gossip columns, and later television programs about Hollywood life all contributed to the mythology of the stars, a mythology carefully curated by the studios, but eagerly consumed by the public. In this context, Donadrake's story is both exceptional and entirely ordinary. It's a poignant example of the sacrifices made at the altar of fame, and a reminder of the resilience of those who pursued their dreams in spite of the obstacles. As we reflect on her life and the era she lived in, it becomes clear that Hollywood's golden age was as much about the shadows as it was about the spotlight. So Paramount spins this elaborate yarn about Donna being this exotic mix of Mexican, Irish, and French, right? Straight out of a Hollywood fairy tale. But peel back that glitzy veneer, and you find Eunice Westmoreland, a girl from Florida with dreams bigger than the lies they made her live. Imagine, just for a second, waking up every day knowing you got to play a part that ain't even close to who you really are. That's not just acting. That's surviving in a world that ain't ready for the truth. Now think about this. Hollywood's all about selling dreams, but for folks like Donna, it was more about selling out, trading in who you are for a shot at the big time. And for what? A few roles where she gets to pretend to be someone she's not, in stories that probably didn't even scratch the surface of her real-life drama. But let's not just skim over this. Donna wasn't just some puppet. She was playing the game the only way it was laid out for her. And yeah, it was a rigged game, but she brought her A-game to it. She learned languages, danced to the tune they played, all while knowing that one slip could bring the whole facade crashing down. And here's where it gets even crazier. Donna's not an isolated case. Hollywood back then was like a mask factory, churning out these picture-perfect lies for the masses to gobble up. You've got stars pretending to be something they're not, living lives written by someone else, all for the sake of fitting into a mold that was never meant to fit real people. Now, let's talk about the cost. Because sure, Donna got her name in lights, but at what price? Living a lie, day in, day out, can mess with your head. Hollywood's glitter often cast long shadows, and folks like Donna were caught in the darkest parts, fighting battles no one saw because everyone was too dazzled by the spotlight. This story ain't just about the past, it's a mirror reflecting all the messed up parts of showbiz that still go on today. It's a reminder that behind every glossy photo, every glamorous premiere, there might just be a story of someone fighting to be seen for who they truly are. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Donna Drake's life, let's not forget the real her.